All right, guys, welcome back to Rise and Grind. I can't believe that we're literally like 2, 3 weeks away from the end of 2024.
How crazy is
That is
that?
mind-boggling.
It really is.
It is literally mind-boggling. 2024 was a roller coaster of a year I know for a lot of businesses and a lot of people. But wow, I cannot believe it's over almost already at this point. But with that said, there are so many things that are changing in 2025. So first off, how was your Thanksgiving? Because I don't think we connected after that. So about your Thanksgiving, or did we already?
I don't think we did. I think we missed a week. We
Yeah,
skipped
we
because
skipped.
the
We skipped a
craziness
week.
of Cyber Monday and making sure our clients
Yes,
were all
the
set up
acquisition
for
was crazy. Yeah,
success. Yeah, and but it was good, filled with gratitude.
I love that.
Yeah,
I love that. I think I put on like 8 pounds.
yeah. I mean, it's the holiday season, right? So that's
100%.
as expected. We were
Yeah,
just talking this morning about the importance of keeping up with your fitness, especially this time of year. It gets cold out. There's lots of holiday cookies that
dude.
I can't stop
Oh,
eating. Oh my
I've
gosh.
been in a mode like this week. I have to like not eat anything. I think I'm literally gonna
Preparing.
only have one meal. I'm going back. I did that last week
Yeah.
actually. But
You were doing pretty
I'm
good
going
last
back
week.
to one meal a day because of how terrible I am at the holidays.
Yeah.
So I'm going back to it. We're back here. But anyway, so with that said, let's kind of dive in where I guess I'll kick off first real quick is, with TikTok. So as of right now, it's slotted. TikTok is going to be shut down in America mid-January.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, it's been in court for this entire year pretty much, and they've settled it on the fact that if they don't separate from their China-based partner, let's call it, and having the servers and all of the data storage in China, that they will effectively Jan 15th be done in America.
Yeah.
So for TikTok, as we know it, could be gone. And the one thing though that is actually, so when this whole thing first started happening, I could give two shits at the time because realistically, I wasn't really on TikTok. We don't do much with it, and it's like the thing is like at the end of the day, it's like now that I'm actually like the past like 6 months, I just scroll on it once in a while, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I love though how the algorithm is so open, right? And the difference between like Meta or a lot of these different channels is the algorithm is so matured at this point that when we post certain things, it's not going far, right? Because they have so many factors to consider.
Yeah.
Where with TikTok, the reason why people are blowing up all over TikTok the past like few years is because their algorithm and how like if you post good content, like it'll serve. Where in most of these other platforms, like it's really hard to do that. So anyway, with that said, as of right now, TikTok will be no more Jan 15th.
Yeah.
So let's see what happens.
I did not think that would actually go
happen.
through. I thought it would kind of be a scare for TikTok to maybe tighten up some of their security measures and maybe do the same thing that we're about to talk about with Australia with limiting, the age limit on there. But it's going to be transformational for a lot of people in a negative way. For those who built a living on TikTok, to now have to rebuild on YouTube or rebuild on, one of the Meta platforms. You have to start now, and if you haven't started, you're probably late. So you should get on top of it. Yeah. But so with that said, the Australian government just voted to ban anyone under the age of 16 from all social media apps, which is really interesting because they're seeing an uptick in mental health issues, obviously, with those who are on social media for a long period of time from a young age, which is understandable. But then I also think about how this will impact different trends because this past year, for example, we saw a huge uptick in self-care purchasing from Gen Alpha, which is crazy. Like I was in Sephora watching these 10-year-olds buy $30 face creams. And it's like, that's not what I was doing when I was 10 years old, but it's because they're seeing it on social media. They're seeing different brands on social media and they're getting their parents to buy them that. If they're not on social at a young age, some of these brands that did really well might not do as well because of that limitation.
See, here's the thing. So like, growing up when I did, I think you were like not born yet, but just kidding. But like when you had AIM, obviously, right?
Yeah.
That makes sense to me, right? Like the difference is like I like that having kids, like knowing that like, hey, like I'd rather my children be able to communicate with their friends on like an instant messenger, right? And they can put up a status and they can do the same things as AIM, right? but like the difference lies within like when you have like Instagram and you're a young kid and you see like, these other kids. Again, like when I was in like middle school and like high school and stuff, like I had terrible acne. Like I had really bad acne. And like when you think about it, like if social media was as big as it is now then, and I saw all these other dudes who were like probably, in shape and had great skin and all these other things, like I would be like, why can't I have that?
Yeah.
And guess what? Like at that age, it's just your hormones and you got to go through it.
Right.
And it's very difficult. So like there's so many different like body shaming and like, and things that people feel that again, acne for me was that one thing where I was like, I hated it. Like, so it's like at the end of the day, when you see those things as a kid, it's difficult. Whereas like I used to love getting home or like finishing dinner and be like, I'm going to jump on the computer and just go on AIM, right? Because then you just talk to my friends. Hey, what's up? What are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. It's like versus just scrolling. And like with AIM, my mom would let me go on it for like probably like an hour or maybe a little bit less. And then it's like, all right, done with the computer.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, then I had to go be a kid and play either like Nintendo or like go outside or like go to bed or watch Nickelodeon. Ed, Edd n Eddy. Duh. Hey Arnold. Hey Arnold. Hey Arnold. Move it, football head. So it's like those things. So it's like at the end of the day, it's like I think it makes sense. It feels disruptive because like imagine the tough part about it is imagine most of these kids had cell phones when they're like 13 or 14.
Yeah, some even younger.
Had social for 3 years or 2 years and were scrolling.
Right.
And now it's like you can't. But listen, they're going to find a way how to get back on. Like, come on. As a kid, like kids are creative. And if you're 16, think about that. In the U.S., you get your permit, right? Or by us.
Right.
Like if I was 16, they took away that, I would be like, I'd figure a way.
Yeah.
Well,
it's almost like because a lot of the social media apps ask you to put in your birth date. Like I remember back in the day, I think you had to be 18 to access some of the social media apps, like way, 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 way back in the day. And you can just put in the wrong year and there was no verification on it. So I don't know if now there will be some sort of verification, but I don't know how that's going to work out because you could technically just get around it if you really wanted to.
Yeah.
Right?
Listen, to me, I think it makes a ton of sense. I like it, again, being like a parent thinking about that rather than whatever. But I think that if you do that, what are you putting in place of it, right? Like, hey, we're removing, if you're 16 and under, you don't have this. But guess what? Exciting news, you have this, right? And maybe that's an opportunity for Meta, because Meta does everything everywhere at any time and copies everybody or buys everybody. So it's like Meta should take this as an opportunity for countries that are doing this and say, all right, well, guess what? We're introducing Meta into Messenger. Because then you're still on Facebook. They still are able to do what they want, which is collect data and have people communicating on their platforms. But now you just keep it in that whole thing. Actually, wait a second.
Remember like the Blackberries? Like there was BBM.
Yeah. Actually, I just totally forgot. Like all these kids probably have phones, so they're going to be texting each other. So there's no need for IMs.
You can't set a status.
I know you can't. I was thinking in WhatsApp, technically you make a status.
Yeah.
But you can't. And if you're just tuning in, guys, we're just talking about how Australia essentially approved you have to be 16 years or older. I'm sorry, older than 16. So 17?
Yeah.
17 years old.
17 and older, yeah.
To use social media. And they just approved that. And again, I was just sharing like how I feel like I understand that. Especially because of like all these things that are happening with kids now and being able to see other kids. And honestly, middle school and high school could be so tough.
It's tough as it is without social media. Like I think back, like we grew up in a really interesting age where we had social media, but it wasn't like it is today, where it can influence you in so many ways. And this is the first time we're seeing the long-term effects of social media use as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how that pans out. And again, even with the purchasing behaviors, like I said, so a lot of things are about to shift with consumer behavior.
Yeah, but you know what? Again, and that actually, because to say, are kids buying stuff? No, but they're seeing it and saying, "Mom, I want this," thing off TikTok or thing off whatever. So it makes sense.
Yep.
Definitely. Comment, let us know what you think about that. Whether you're a parent or not, if you think that it makes sense that Australia is essentially banning 16 years and younger from social media platforms. Let us know what you think about that. Very curious to hear that.
Yeah. All right, the next trend is that YouTube is introducing an AI feature to its inspiration tab. So now you can go to the inspiration panel and AI will basically scan your channel and figure out what content is going to be the most engaged with, the most viewed, and they'll come up with 5 different ideas with thumbnail ideas, what you should title the video for it to really maximize engagement and reach, and even the description of the video as well, which is incredible, because for some people who are like, I want to grow on YouTube, I just can't come up with the ideas or concepts for it. Now your inspiration panel will essentially do it for you, which is incredible.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting though, because the platform essentially is competing against itself. Because if we have 2 businesses and it's telling us both what videos to put out, which one is going to really get the best engagement. So it's probably going to always be bettering itself. So it's going to be good for consistent use. Don't use it one time and then just let it lie flat.
Listen, I think the one thing I'll say though, on that note, when we're talking about video and YouTube and stuff, guys, going into 2025, you have to get your head out of the sand. And whether you're an executive or a professional in a company, or you obviously own a company, the big thing is this: you have to show your journey and what you're doing on social media, especially on a business page. People do not want to see, a regular piece of content or a reshare or things that are like super old, like a picture of you at an event. Like, people want to follow your journey. They want to see what you have going on. Video content, it's for the past 2-3 years, like it hasn't been, something where it's like you should be doing. It's been a must, and people are still not doing it, and they're wondering why they're not crushing it on social. Like, you got to build an interesting narrative. And I think one of the biggest things that, like, I've said this over and over again, and I actually had a really good thought about this when I was having a conversation with somebody recently, a business owner, who doesn't like putting out content because they feel weird, they feel awkward, they don't know how their customer or potential customer is going to see them. They're like, some people look at it and might think I'm cheesy or I'm corny.
Yeah.
But listen, at the end of the day, you have to put yourself out there. You got to be in the game to win new customers. It's the bottom line. And what is the game now? It's creating interesting, entertaining content on social media, right? Like, people, if you're a contractor, an attorney, a doctor, a professional, an executive, like, the bottom line is this: you have to create content that people on the other side are going to like. That's it. Like, if they don't like it, and the problem is that a lot of us, even at the agency level, even at the person who's creating their own content level for their business or at a company, a lot of times we think about creating social media content like we just got to create it. What are we trying to sell? What's our narrative? How are we trying to push our agendas? And the thing is like, we forget sometimes how, like, your follower that's looking at your channels, what do they like? We're not creating content anymore that's like for the follower. And I think that's the biggest thing that we have to remember, is now we're moving into a new phase now, where at this point in time, let's call it for like the past like 15 plus years, people have been on social media, right? So they've seen the waves of stock photography being acceptable and for business channels, and then on LinkedIn, and then it not, right? And then they've seen some video content come and go, and then they've seen it, be really good, right? So now we live in a world where people don't want overproduced, right? They just want authentic, they want real. So it's also an opportunity for people out there who are watching that are saying, well, I can't afford a camera guy to follow me around, like Robbie Lagoons. They can't do that all the time. That's okay. You just need somebody who can be right there, and that person is you, right? Like, you got to grab your phone, right? Prop that thing up, and yes, Samsung Fold, baby. I switched, okay? And I love this. Like, it's 2008. What'd you say? Goodbye. Anyway, point being is that you got to prop up your phone, create content, get out there, show what you're doing, and listen, the people who care about you and like you will still engage with your content. They'll want to see it. They'll want to watch. They'll want to see what's going on in your life. And the people who are interested in you, or interested in the business or whatever you have going on, they might consume it. You have to create content for them, right? Like, again, being like, you don't like, I think the easiest thing to compare to is like when you're watching TV, right? Do you stay on channels watching content you don't want to watch? No. Again, and I know we're in the era of like streaming, but like, I have YouTube TV, and if you're that one like area where it kind of reminds you of like the old days where you're flicking through channels, it's like, you don't stay on a channel that you don't like, right? So like, it's the same thing with content. Even if you're a realtor and you sold me a home and I thought you were great, but now I'm following you and I'm only seeing listing, real estate shit. I'm not going to keep following you because I don't care about real estate. I followed you because you sold me my house. I liked you. And now I'm just seeing business content left and right You're not entertaining me. I'm not learning anything from you. And that's the thing. It's entertain, motivate, and you want to pull on the heartstrings and the emotions in some cases. And that's what social media is for, right? It's like you guys got to think about that. So, end rant, but I do want to just say, for the people out there that are watching this, again, I don't care if you own the business or not, or if you're an executive, or if you're a professional who works at a company, whatever. Creating content, and I'm actually going to share this one last piece real quick, is I have a friend who is a recruiter, and and they worked at this recruiting company, but she invested so much time and effort into building her LinkedIn, right? And so that when she posts something, and I shared this story a few months ago, but when she shares anything, right, like it gets picked up, and like she has like hundreds of like engagements and likes, and and all these different things, and so when she was looking at like this bigger firm, like they saw how active she is, how much reach she has, how much influence she has, and she got the job on the spot. It was a great job that like you would have to be somebody who's like an absolute titan. But what they didn't realize is that she was only in this HR space, recruiting space, for literally, I think, like less than a year. But she just always was so good with her LinkedIn that she shifted gears, and everybody followed her journey. It was like, hey guys, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm jumping into recruiting. I'm learning. I'm this and that. Like, if you guys have any resources, let me know. And for a year, she pumped work into her LinkedIn and into her knowledge base, and would share thought leadership stuff on LinkedIn. And next thing you know, she got a job that in my opinion, she probably wasn't qualified for. But online and on LinkedIn, she looked like she was a rock star. So she got the gig. And all I'm saying is that bottom line is this: even if you're just a professional, right, your social media goes with you. Yeah. Right? Your company can't take your personal social media. So what she did was genius, because she built up her own brand, right? And then boom, she can slide that anywhere she wants to go. So again, whether you're a company doing this or just an individual person or employee, like that helps you, right? Creating content helps you win. And I know people are like, I don't want to do it, but anyway, 2025, you have to do it. You had to do it in 24 and 23, but now there is no question you have to.
People are commenting about how you have an Android now after bashing Android.
I know, Sean's right. I did bash it. But now listen, look at this. I can make this. Yeah, what's up? No, bam. Like see that it's closed, like it's 2008.
Ah, that is so funny. That's so true though.
Like a Razr flip phone.
Yeah. It's funny.
Apple, listen, what I will say though is Apple was supposed to come out with a flip phone. It was rumored supposed to be 24. Didn't happen. Got another brick. Okay. Yeah. How many bricks can you buy? All right. That's the only.
I like my brick.
That's the only reason why I switched. I don't want to buy a brick anymore. And you like your brick because it's in your purse.
Yeah.
Men carry a brick in their pocket all day long. It's a brick, and it's like this is half of it. And no, it's like storage. It's small. Like look at how small that thing is. Like it's beautiful. When you open it up, it's huge. But my point is this: like this is actually a good conversation, because nobody in the world, if you go back 4 years ago, nobody in the world would think that anybody could ever touch Apple with their devices, with everything they do. And Apple is getting their asses handed to them in a lot of different sectors. Yeah. They're not making the iPad every year anymore. They're not producing, I don't know if the phones is official yet, but they're supposed to be not doing phones every year anymore. Like they got crushed on the Vision Pros, right? Like they're just getting their asses and their lunch money taken from them now. And the thing is, like, because people don't like. This is the thing. On Android, every year we saw things that like would come out with Android that iPhone just didn't do, and then iPhone, like 5 years into it, was like, "Hey guys, we're gonna give you the ability to customize your apps in your phone now. You can change the colors." It's like, yo, Android's been doing that for a decade.
Yeah.
So it's like they're just so behind on everything that like it's unacceptable to the consumer market, and that's why I was sitting there. I was in line. I was at the phone store. Okay, I'm at the phone store about to buy the phone, right? And I'm 16 Pro, whatever the hell it is now. Where is it, 18 or 16?
I don't know.
Yeah, 16. And they're like, yeah, sir, sorry, your phone will be at the end of November. And I'm like, I gotta fucking wait for this brick now. And then I'm walking around the store, and you see all the commercials for these flip phones and stuff. I'm like, damn, this is pretty cool. And then I checked the camera out and all these different things on it, and it's just so much better. And I was like, I need to change. I'm changing. And honestly, everybody in my life was like, he'll be back in a month. I gave him a month, 30 days. I've been going strong.
I don't know. I think
But
you're gonna switch soon.
now I'm so locked in. It's not even funny. There's only one way I'll go back.
Let's save this clip so that when you do switch.
Yeah, well, it's gonna be out there. It's gonna be out there. But the one thing is, listen, I will say this very publicly. If iPhone released the flip phone thing, or like whatever, it's a different device, right? I would have never switched. I can't be sold the same product for 10 years straight anymore. I'm done. I don't want a brick anymore.
I get that. It's understandable.
If in 2025 they release some sort of new device that whether, again, if it's a flip, that's a huge plus for me. But if they have that device, like apparently they're trying to get patented right now, I'll be back. No question about it. I'm just not being sold the same device. But it has to be a flip phone. 100%. Yeah. I can't get a brick anymore. I'm done with the bricks. Yeah. And listen, Samsung really, it's like a phone commercial. I'm sorry, guys. But like, this is literally like a phone. Samsung, fucking hit me up with some sponsorship dollars here, okay? But like, if you actually look at this, like, it looks from the side like an iPhone. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and everything about it is like, and it's, look at that. There's my case.
It's just a little bit longer, in my opinion.
No, it's actually a bigger display when you open it, but like, bam! Did you hear that? Hold on, let me put it next to the mic. There it is. Bam! I just love it. I love it. Robbie Lagoons loves it. You love it. Everyone loves it. Anyway, but off that topic, listen, this is the thing. What you got? Pinterest, hit us.
Okay. Yeah, last topic. Pinterest released trend predictions for 2025, and there's quite a few. They displayed it in a really nice way, so go check it out because there's a lot of trends that they're reporting on based on the search history that's been happening over the past few months. The first trend they're picking up on is cherry colored products for everything. So we might see cherry as one of the colors of the year in 2025. And then they also picked up on the fact that in 2025, mountain ranges will become the go-to travel destination for Gen Z and Gen X, which is going to be really interesting.
That just gets Megan's juices going.
Yeah, I love the mountains.
She's like, let me hop in my Subaru and get a fucking mountain with that bar, that crumbly Nature Valley bar.
You know, John.
Megan's life is a mountain in a Subaru commercial. She had her Australian Shepherds, the whole literally a fucking Patagonia commercial. Megan's life is. But anyway, so one thing I just want to share before we pop off here, guys. One thing that we would appreciate is we are trying to, every time we film, make this show better and better and better. You guys can provide some feedback, leave a comment. I don't care how tough it is, how good it is, how bad it is. We want to get this better for you. So if you guys drop it here, but there's potential that this might be the last one of 2024.
Yeah.
Primarily because we are so damn busy and we want to level this up. So point being is, this might be the last time that we see you on this show in 2024. But that's because we're going to prep for 2025 to make the show 10 times better. So one thing we'll say, guys, as we sign off for this year, which is wild, and Megan and Lagoons didn't even know this. So I'm just dropping this right here, right now. They didn't even know this.
Definitely are. But it's making sense, though. We are so close to the end of the year, and the next few weeks are
crazy. So with that said, I hope one thing for everybody out there. You got something, Rob?
No.
Okay. Okay.
Rob's crying.
Yeah. All right. So, but the one thing that I want us to sign off with is a motivational quote from Megan.
No, you do a motivational quote. I'm doing motivational.
For 2024, Meg's got us with the 2024 motivational quote.
Yeah.
No, Rob, honestly, you should hit us with a motivational quote for 2024. End us with it. Yeah. He's like, rent's due. He's like, the mortgage is due. All right. Get on a kayak, get out there. But no, honestly, guys, first and foremost, I want to thank everybody from the bottom of our hearts for, number one, tuning into this throughout this year. This is the second year we've been doing this?
I think so.
Year 2?
Mm-hmm.
Is it? Year 2? So we're so grateful for everybody who's tuned in, who has given us feedback, who's watched and been a part of this. We're super excited to level it up next year. But the one thing that I hope for everybody who is watching this, the whole purpose of Rise and Grind from the beginning was to get up, to get after it, and to talk about what's changing in the world. And so, and the world of business more specifically and zoomed in.
Mm-hmm.
And the one thing that I constantly find myself, even myself. So when I say this sparingly because I know I am also not perfect in any way, right? But one of the things I think about is that, when we think about what we want out of our business, out of our careers, out of our lives, a lot of times we go back and we do the same things that we did every single year. We wake up and we do the same things. We operate the same way. We have the same mindsets pretty much. And we always wonder why things don't change. And one of the things that I had a really great mastermind this morning, and this came up where it was like, I wanted to do this in my business this year, but it didn't happen. And, all these different types of similar conversations. And when you think about it, the crazy part about life is that you watching this have the ability to change your life, to change the trajectory of where you're going. But you have to make different decisions. You have to create different habits. You have to do different things. You have to surround yourself with different people. And, it's that typical quintessential, now cringy saying, right? But you are the person, essentially who you surround yourself with. I know they say 5 or 3 or whatever the number is. But this year, going into a new year, think about surrounding yourself with people who are doing what you want to do. And part of the conversation that I had this morning, was, again, I don't surround myself with people whose opinions they haven't been where I want to go, right? And so again, if I'm talking to an accountant, that accountant better be making big moves in his finances. Same thing with financial advisors. Are you working with a financial advisor who is doing okay? Or are you working with a financial advisor who is wealthy and they can show you how to build wealth, right? And that goes all the way through and through to people around you. In business, success leaves, little cookie trails of clues behind. And same thing in health and all these other components of our lives. So surround yourself with people who have been where you want to go. And I know it seems intimidating or people, will not give you that opportunity, right? If they're up there, or if they already created success in your industry, that person's not going to talk to me. But the one thing I will tell you is that the experiences that I've had doing that over the past, again, we're Adapting Social is going into its 17th year in business, and which is bananas. But when I think about the people that I've reached out to over the years who have helped me get better, it's people who didn't have to give me an opportunity, right? But they gave me their time. And the one thing that most people don't think about is if you with the founder of iCIMS, okay, which is a multi-billion-dollar company. The guy Colin had a huge exit, and I emailed him and was like, "Dude, I want to be you." Literally in 2017, I was like, or 2018, I was like, "I want to be you. How can I want to buy you lunch or coffee, right?" Because again, he doesn't owe me anything, so let me buy him coffee or something. And he emailed me back within 15 minutes and was like, "Come to my office today." I was like, "What?" I was like, "Really? Fuck yeah!" But I sat down with that guy for literally, I think it was maybe less than an hour. And I learned so much in an hour about his mindset, how he approaches things, finances, business, all these crazy things that in a quick conversation, and what cost me maybe $25 in coffee and a scone or something was so invaluable. So what I'm trying to get at is that in this new year, if you want to go to certain places in your career or your business or your health, go find the fucking people who are doing it and get in front of them. Buy them dinner. Buy them and their spouse dinner. Buy them and their team dinner. And I was like, oh my God, I can't afford to do that. Or it's how much could that be? But it's the lessons that I learned at that coffee, right? If I didn't have $20 and I had to scrounge that 20 to go sit down with that dude, Colin, to get the information I got, that information in my business today is worth millions of dollars, right? And at that time, I would not have known that because it was the first dude that actually gave me, it was the first time I actually shot, kind of shoot my shot there. But my point though is I do that all the time now. And I do that for people too. People reach out to me all the time, hey, I'd love to pick your brain. I have a question about business. I have a question about this, question about that. Can you check my resume? Blah, blah, blah. And I will absolutely do that. So anyway, shoot your shot. Surround yourself with the people who have been to where you want to go with your goals, right? Don't let this be another year where you don't achieve what you're after. Like, it's up to you. And that's why people get frustrated and they're like, why the fuck am I not hitting my goals again and again and again? And eventually you start to look at yourself like, yo, I'm a fucking liar. I said I was going to go to the gym every morning. I didn't go. I said I was going to get this in my business. Didn't do it. And it typically takes your effort and you getting out there. And the one thing I'll just share for the people that have been going through, because 2024 was a tough year for so many people. But the one thing I would just tell you guys, it was tough for me in a lot of ways too, personally, business, all these different components. But the one thing I will tell you that I learned this year so much was that you have to just keep showing up. And that's the toughest part, but it's over, I would say 80% of it is just being there and showing the fuck up every single day when you don't want to, when it feels like, oh, this feels terrible. I feel depressed. I don't want to do this. Like, I don't want to get out of bed. I don't want to do whatever. I promise you, if you just get up and you show up, that's what I had to do this year. I had to just get up and show up and show up and show up. And eventually when you keep doing that and you're focused on getting better and you're focused on learning new things and you're focused on growing, you're gonna put yourself in a way better position. And I know it's tough, but the one thing that one of my mentors, who at the time was like 90, was like, just don't ever, 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 ever give up. Especially if you love what you're doing, you're into it, and it feels difficult. It feels like you can't find the way forward or the path forward. The difference between the people who don't succeed and the people that do is that they never gave up and they just kept showing up. If you keep showing up, you have to get better. It's impossible that you keep showing up and you don't get better. It's impossible, especially if you keep doing it and never give up. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for tuning in this year and for today. And, God bless you, your family, your business, everything you have going on. We will see you in 2025, guys.